it's going to be tough today because of the Christmas holiday and a lot of things going on. But we'll start now. If people add on, that's fine. Um, what we're going to cover at the beginning? You got it recorded? Okay, perfect. Okay. I'm new at this, so bear with me because Micah, our mentor, is got something he's got to do tonight with his kids. So you're going to find out how computer unsavvy I am. But anyway, uh, we'll start where Troy and I went over this yesterday, and I wish I had it recorded because I think we motivated each other with all of our ideas. But we came up with what would be the triple E entrepreneurial keys to success, so that everybody becomes independent on their own with their own business. And so we came up with the three E's, and Troy and I will go over them because we got excited about it. The first one that we both like a lot as wanting to give back to people, because we both have been very successful in our business careers, is to educate people. In other words, to me, knowledge is power. And the more you know about what it is that you're representing, the more credibility you have. And that's really, really important. Okay. So that obviously the best way you're going to motivate people to want to get involved with health and nutrition, and today we're going to even get into educating you on products that have been proven with FDA approved and ISO approved, and you can Google ISO if you don't know what that is. So the products that are the MSM products we'll talk about later are FDA and ISO approved, and we'll get into that later. But getting back to the triple E's, the first one being educate. Um, I know that anything that you read large books or articles about over the course of even a year, you become an authority. So knowledge is power. And the thing that you want to do is you want to be able to not rely on anybody. I mean, the good thing is to vacuum my brain, vacuum Troy's brain, but eventually I want you guys doing better than we're doing, because we want to all work together and make everybody successful. I'll be the happiest guy in the world when I see people become extremely successful with the products that we're going to provide over the next 6 months. But Troy, tell them what you said. Some great things about research and where you got to own it.
Yeah, one of the things that I've always, I've worked my way up the corporate world, and then I realized that I didn't, no matter how well I did in the corporate world, and I did real well at an early age, that no matter how good I did, even if I educated myself to the fullest, I didn't have control because of the politics of corporations and then buyouts, and then eventually a company can get bought out and then they centralize that job. So I learned real quick in my 20s that one of the key factors I had to do if I was going to provide a good life for my family and my daughters, and I have 4 daughters, was I had to self-educate. And that, I think, self-education nowadays, now back then we didn't have the internet as informative and user-friendly as it is now. I actually told my daughters that you really don't have much of an excuse to ask, say you don't know something. I said, now, one of the things that I think is beneficial is, I think or like you said, Gary, knowledge is power, but here's the problem in today's world. Knowledge is abundant. It's wisdom that's scarce. And what that means is there's plenty of information out there, but very few people are either researching that information, where they're getting it. And unfortunately, I was in a web company and started a web business that was really successful for about 15 years. And me and my business partner realized in the very second or third year in that media company that I said, it's really cool that Google ranks stuff based upon information right now, but one of these days they're going to rank whoever pays the most. Now, the problem with that is you can Google something, but it doesn't mean your information that you're getting at the top of the searches is truth. And that's where wisdom comes in. And wisdom is taking some of these, is doing the research for one, to find out where that information comes from. And then two is after you figure out that it's good information, the part about wisdom is actually applying it over a period of time to see what its benefits are. Now, we have a lot of people that can regurgitate information. They're all over YouTube. Everybody's a successful millionaire. They got Lamborghinis and behind them, and they're 20 years old, right? Well, the truth of all that is they rent those. They give the perception of wealth, but they actually, their bank accounts are, they don't have anything. They have a little bit of money to be perceived as being wealthy. But what really, like people like Gary that spent 50 years in something and educating, and just by the process of constantly having to stay on top of it for their livelihood, that's where you find wisdom. And now that's one of the biggest problems with the younger people today is they're not going to those sources to get the wisdom. They're going to the internet and trying to regurgitate knowledge, or they're reading something and they're not fact checking it or doing the research. They just want to sell the product. One of the reasons I got in here was one, my media background and the education I had with the web technologies, branding, going viral, building businesses. The biggest reason I got involved with this was because Micah, I had watched Micah, I had known Micah for about 18 years, somewhere 17, 18 years. And I watched Micah get unhealthy. We did at the same time. Both of us had busy businesses and they were successful. But that means we were eating out, having a lot of dinners, a lot of crap food. Now here, don't get me wrong. I mean, the food we were eating was, I would call it the king's delicacies. We were eating like kings, but we were also, no matter how good the food tasted, what we both noticed this: brain fog, fatigue, mood swings, aggravated, unable to recite information like we used to when we were younger. And what we did know is success has its own, when you're broke, busted, and disgusted, that's one big fight you have, right? But when you're successful, arrogant, and prideful, that's a whole different set of battles. At least when you're broke, busted, and disgusted, you know you are. But when you're like successful, you can write a check to get out of problems, you can pop a pill, go see a doctor, or whatever you need to do to get overcome you don't know about all your problems, because they're sort of what they would, I guess it's sort of like masking the pain or whatever you want to call it. You just take a pill and move on. Well, success is a great way of, you mask a lot of problems underneath that. In health and nutrition, I would say, I didn't realize it, but all the nights of working late and everything, I had succumbed to like fatigue. For the first time in my life, I was always hyperactive, but for the first time in my life, I was hyperactive on an empty gas tank. I don't know if that's even possible, but that's what it felt like. I still had the drive and everything, but my body was not, and my brain was not up to that par. And
Well, when you saw Micah
yeah,
transition to my eating program and my nutrition, and you saw how good he looked, that's when I think you came on board, correct?
that's when I was on board before I even knew y'all existed, because me and Micah are about exactly almost the same age. We had the same exact lifestyles. We were both running companies. We were side by side, and we looked at each other. We talked to each other. We both had families, both come from the church background and media and church. Both of us spiritually, it takes its toll on that part too when you're physically wore out, because your attitude sucks. You're smiling all day long in front of people, but you feel like crap pretty much. So anyway, watching Micah go from puffy, he was actually unshaved. We were both pretty scruffy. We had our business suits on, but we were pretty scruffy. But anyway, I watched him go from a little bit puffy, no energy, sort of down a little bit. And then I slowly watched him like shrink, especially in his face. And then I noticed his color. And I'm a visual graphics guy, so I notice visual things probably more than most people. Um, so I seen him go through the change, and then I actually started reaching out to him. And it's like, hey, Mikey, you looking good, and he would tell me, hey, I'm going to this church and this is going on. And he told me that he was getting involved. I think at that time was it Ritz of Life? Was that
Yeah,
correct?
Ritz Select Nutrition. Yeah.
Yeah. And he had told me about it, and I hate to say it, a lot of us middle-aged men, we know something's going on with our bodies, but I think when you're in the middle and you're in the transition, I guess it would be, you can fake it with caffeine and all, you can push through, I think. But eventually your wisdom in you kicks in, realizes you can't maintain that into your 50s. And then that's when I decided, I've always been pretty self-educating in a lot of different areas like business and web and just entrepreneurship in general. I was like, the only way I'm going to really apply nutrition to the lifestyle I need, was I have to plug in. And the thing that I found my area that would help me is probably plugging in, building a nutritional company. That's why I'm quiet a lot when it comes to the nutrition, because I'm like a lot of you guys, I'm learning. And I'm also learning not only the nutritional part, but I'm learning that there's more people struggling with different things than just me being by myself struggling with stuff. And then I also found that even building this company, building the brand Healthy Response and all the different things that are going to go along with it in the future, I told Gary, I said, we really don't know who we are as a company, who we are at the moment. We just know that whatever products we put out, Gary, we have to make sure they're the best we can. I want to promote truth, no fiction, nobody needs snake oil no more. I said, if I'm going to get behind it, we can work on building our brand and making it all the best it can be, but let's really work on the core part. Let's put all of our time and energy into our products and find out what people struggle with, educate them on those areas. And while we're educating, we're researching. So while we're researching, we'll find solutions. And when we find solution, we'll develop products. And I think that's a big part of where Healthy Response is now, is getting to know people, their struggles, their problems. And then if it's a nutritional thing, like I know that brain fog is a big problem with a lot of business people. And because you got to be reciting and problem solving like almost instantaneous. And that's a lot of them will starve themselves, like not eat lunch or not eat breakfast until after their meetings because they don't want to have brain fog. That's crazy. It's not
Well,
healthy.
I can tell you that that the education part is real important, that we can communicate to people. And I really love it when people ask questions, because that's how I learned. I mean, I was one in school that most of the professors, I think at first said, does this guy ever shut up? But I mean, I always asked 1,000 questions because I wanted to know everything. And that's really important, that we ask a lot of questions, and that's part of education. But the thing, and before you can ask a question, the second E, that's the most important, is to engage. You got to get involved. I mean, to sit back and hope that something's going to happen, it doesn't. Whatever you put into something is what you're going to get out of it. And what Troy and I want to do, we want to not only engage and help every single person and support every single person, we want to make every person independent, where they feel that they have self-empowerment and they can control their own success. And so engage. When you engage, we engage with anybody that needs help. And we do it, in all different ways. I do it with charities. I do it with help. I've got like 5 people right now that are going through divorce because I think of this cabin fever and COVID and whatever. And I've been on the phone for hours helping people, get focused on what's important for them while they're going through this tough period of time. But that's engagement. It's getting involved. It's not, sitting back and letting things happen. You got to make things happen. So, and when I say engagement, it's like, when I went out to one of my buddies, he said, hey, my food truck, we sell Mexican food and, you know, it's kind of tough with the COVID and whatever. And I said, look, if I make a banner for you and we stick it over your food truck and you can sell smoothies and all these different products for, you know, for the COVID, so people can economically get these 2-pound smoothie packets and be able to make their own smoothies. And we hand out recipes and even give out free samples and do whatever. He said, and all of a sudden he's getting, you know, cars lined up down the road wanting to get it, because once you get an engagement, and like Troy said, if you have a good product and you believe in the product and you're enthusiastic about the product, and you can get testimonials from the product and you can give your own testimonials from the product, that's engagement, and that's how you get successful. And and so the third E, you know, we said educate and we said engage. The third E, which is probably the most important one, once you have the knowledge and once you're bonding with people and creating good communication, is execution. You know, the only way you're going to be successful is to be very actively involved, where you take your ideas, as creative as they can be, but you got to execute them. And I told an individual this week, I said, God, you're so smart, you're so articulate, and you're so communicative, and you got so many people that listen to you, but you're like a good waiter and you're leaving all the tips on the table. Okay, you're not executing. In other words, you've got to be able, now that you've got, like, this guy's got probably over 300 people following him, and if he would just execute with what we're doing, where we transfer emotional beliefs, that's all sales are. You know, people think sales are, oh, you got to have the gift of gab, or you got to be able to close people, or you got to be able to, no, you don't have to do any of that. Just be who you are and have the enthusiasm and the belief. And if you can transfer your emotional belief into another person, they're going to go, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Let me try that. That's a, I mean, when you know, before this COVID, if I saw a good movie at a movie theater, I was calling 20 people saying, hey, you got to go see this movie. It's unbelievable. I really love it. And you know what? All 20 would go to the movie because I sold them on the fact that I loved it so much. But that's all sales are, is a transference of emotional beliefs. That's all it is. And Troy and I really believe, because of the testimonials that we're getting on these nutritional products, that we're doing the right thing. And I'm excited about it. So Troy, what do you think about the execution part?
I think the biggest thing with execution is like, it's so, if you, what is it? If you don't have a plan, then you plan to fail, or there's a saying.
Oh, yeah, if you fail to plan, plan to fail. Yeah.
Yeah. But the biggest thing I found with execution, and I know that I have to do it in my life, is accountability. The way I execute is, I will tell my wife what my plan and what my goal is, and she'll give me some negative feedback on it, or she'll push my buttons to see if I'm sincere about doing it. And then once I do it, she will then ask me, will show me what you know, if I tell her I'm going to make this business happen, then a week or two, she'll go, so where are you at on it? And then I'll have to give her progress on it. But the biggest thing is she'll ask me, show me the money. Well, if you're getting into nutrition, it's the same thing. It's like there should be some fruit from what you're doing. Like if you plan on getting into nutrition, you should eventually start feeling better. That should be a fruit of it. You should start having more energy. You should start believing in the product more, because once you see the benefits of it, your sales pitch ought to get better, because once you feel better, you're naturally going to speak about, you know, whatever got you there. You don't even have to train somebody to do a sales pitch. But the biggest thing here's what I told a young guy that came up to me, and he sold me I bought a pressure washer from him. And he was talking to how times were hard. And so he said he buys lawnmowers, fixes them, buys them from Lowe's. If they got a screw missing or something's wrong with them, fixes them up and sells them online. And I was like, well, if you know how to do that, then, you know, he was driving a pretty beat up car. And I said, well, then you should know how to flip. And I said, what you need to do is flip it up. And he started giving me all the excuses. Well, you know, my car doesn't run that great. I said, well, it drove you here. I said, I'm sure it got you somewhere all week long. He said, yeah. And he's like, well, you know, right now, he gave me about 10 excuses. And I said, whenever you said, if you really want to be successful, you're going to have to overcome all that crap that you tell yourself. I said, because here's what's going to happen. You're either going to find excuses of why you're not that person, or you're going to live in what I call a victim mindset. You're going to blame somebody else. You're going to blame situations, and you're going to blame all these other things. And trust me, the life will give you plenty of excuses. I said, but whenever you get to the point to where you say what I heard this sales guy, he was a guy I listened to, and it really stunned me that he said it, because I was following him on a seminar, and he's real clean with his communication skills. And then he got right to the part where we're talking about execute. And he said, you need to be able to tell yourself, F your excuses. And he said, when you can tell yourself that, and you take away all your excuses, you're on your road to success. And he's not joking, because you can make up I don't have money. Well, I can give you a testimony from a guy that didn't have no money and he became a billionaire. I can tell you about a guy that had no education and he became a billionaire. I can tell you, I can take every excuse you give me away but you know what? If you're in a victim mindset, you're going to come up with another excuse. So what we all need to do is get rid of our excuses, get a group that's heading the same direction, and then keep each other accountable and help us not psych ourselves out, because we are the biggest problem in our life about not being successful and stuff.
Well, here's the one thing that I read just a couple of days ago that motivated me, and it's along the same theme you're talking about, as far as being in a state of paralysis because of an excuse, or because you're procrastinating, or you're not really executing. And what it said was that a release. One thing you need. Think of one thing you need to release this month. One thing that you need to release this month that will make you richer and healthier. Just one thing. One thing that you can release that's stopping you, or that's putting you in a state of paralysis, or making you negative, or making you question yourself, or be apprehensive, or whatever. Take one thing that's a release that you're going to release, that's going to make you every month healthier and richer. I think that's the key. Now let's go into I'm really excited about, just so you know, even though Mike is not here, he worked all day today for me, so I want to show what he's done. Put the 4 MSM products on for me, please. Okay. Here's our new 4 MSM products. We talked about it months ago, but they're now all ready to go. And all these it's going to be a division of Healthy Response called Purely Soothing. And so, just so you know, I own the company Purely Soothing 100%. And so these products, you can own them. I mean, you can be my branding and sales staff, because they're brand new. It's a brand new company, a brand new name. But I'm very fortunate that my biochemist that made all these products, I've been working with for years, and he's retiring, but he said, Gary, I'll make all these products for you as long as you want them, and we'll have them manufactured here in Arizona, and they're going to be under your name, Purely Soothing. So we're very fortunate to be able to have unbelievable, he's got over 3,000 testimonials with these products, where people that have poor blood circulation, or neuropathy, or arthritis, or bone pain, or back pain, or joint pain, or muscle pain, it works. Okay, this MSM gel, if you want to do your research, like we talked about, educating, if you look up MSM, it's a sulfur derivative that you have when you're born, that's in your cells, and as you get older, your cells weaken and dissipate and atrophy because you're getting older. And that's what can cause sometimes this lack of blood circulation, or even if you've been in an accident and you've got scar tissue or you've got inflammation or whatever, this gel will take away the inflammation. Now, here's the interesting thing that I studied this week is obviously everybody knows that CBD, the derivative, the cannabinoid from hemp, takes away anxiety. It's good with sleep apnea. And it's also really, really good with to take away pain of inflammation. That's what CBD does. But here's what I learned this week that's really exciting about the difference between what MSM does versus CBD. CBD basically works on the receptors of your brain so that you don't feel the pain, even though the pain is still there. It's like probably like the same thing as taking a Tylenol or whatever, is that it'll work towards your receptor where it calms you down and it takes away the pain, but it doesn't really, and it'll temporarily, and I use the word a lot, temporarily resolve the inflammation that you're dealing with, because inflammation is pain. Here's the difference. MSM doesn't work on your receptor. MSM cures, when I say cures, takes away the inflammation and makes it go down right away. So in MSM, the reason why MSM works with rheumatoid arthritis over a 2-week period is people that get deformities in their knuckles, their hands, their ankles, their feet. When you put this MSM on, what it does is it rejuvenates the cells that are in the area so that it not only takes away the inflammation, but because it's rejuvenating the cells, it makes the cells stronger so you don't have as much inflammation again. Whereas the CBD will temporarily take away the inflammation and the pain. The MSM, if you work on it consistently, whether it's internal with the flakes and the capsules, or you do it with the topicals, which are the pump bottle and the 2-ounce travel, those will work on it if you have a topical pain, because it'll soothe right into your muscle or your lower back or your ankle or your feet or your knuckles or your grip or your hands or your wrists. Those are great for the pump bottle or the travel 2-ounce. Those are both the topical gel, same product. But for people that want that have internal inflammation or pain, those are the ones that would need the flakes or the capsules. And the reason why a lot of people get capsules is for convenience. The flakes, I can tell you, are a little more effective because it's going right into the bloodstream solid, but you're putting it in water and it's a little bit bitter, not much, a little bit bitter. So people a lot of times will take the capsules so they don't have any taste in their mouth, which to me, I'd rather have a little bit of bitter taste than get rid of my inflammation and pain right away. The capsules are very effective, but I'm going to tell you that the flakes are more powerful in the long run. But they both work very well. And so I'm excited to launch these products. And like I said, they're FDA approved and ISO approved. And ISO, you'll look up Google so you'll know what I'm talking about. And if you need the certificates of showing that they're ISO approved, I can email them to you to show that everything I'm saying has 100% documentation. And does anybody have any questions over these products or the nutritional products? I'd be glad to answer questions at this time. I don't see any chat. Do you?
On that, Emma, on the gel stuff. Now, one night Heather was having, my wife has these I call them super migraines because it almost brings her to tears. They're so bad. And it was about 2 a.m. and she was just at wit's end with it. And she was sitting up in bed sort of crying. And so I got up, it's like, okay, I had to figure out something because I can't sit there and watch, you hate seeing people with those kind of headaches. But anyway, I didn't have like anything, but your gel came to mind. And this is no joke. I don't even know how it worked. I just grabbed it and I said, listen, I'm going to rub the back of your head with this gel, and thinking, I don't know what it's in it. Don't know what, I don't know how that works on how it'll actually help a headache, but it ended up, no kidding, within like, I rubbed it in the upper back part of her neck, under her hairline, and then on her shoulders back in here. And I think within, about 10-15 minutes, she was out sleeping. And so that's one thing I will say. I don't know what it did, but it
Well,
did
I'm,
something.
I'm glad I sent you the samples, even though you don't know
Yeah,
what it did.
yeah.
But yeah, I sent Troy the 2-ounce travel gel, and it works. I mean, one thing I'm really excited about is I was very, I'm going to tell you, I was very apprehensive about MSM when I first saw it because I didn't know what it was either. And so I did a lot of reading on it. But the most important thing that sold me the most was I saw over 3,000 testimonials of how its effect changed people's lives. And that's what made me a believer, because I'm very conditioned to testimonials. Being in the health club business for 45 years, to me, anybody can say, yeah, we got the best health club, we got the best this, we got. To me, I used to show actual before and after pictures and get the people to come in and speak in my health clubs to show that they were real. Anybody can get a before and after picture and say, hey, look, my health club's great. I made sure that I had documented members in each club that would stand up to their picture and say, yeah, this is me, and this is what I lost in the health club over the last 4 or 5 months. So testimonials to me are the instant way to get credibility with a product. And just like Troy said about feeling better and having more energy about the nutritional products, when you're eating clean products with no chemicals and no additives and no preservatives and no artificial sweeteners, you're going to feel a million times better than when you're eating and consuming chemicals. So these 4 products have no chemicals. They're all kosher. They're all 100% all natural. And so you're going to feel better after you eat them. But the one thing I would recommend is when we used to, when I used to go with my biochemist to conventions and we had a booth, we wouldn't try to, pressure people into buying this gel. Here's what we would do. They go, does this stuff really work? And we go, well, where's your pain? Well, my shoulder's killing me. I go, here, let me put some on your shoulder. Go to some other booths for about 10-15 minutes. Come back and tell me what you think. That's what everybody bought. We never tried to sell anybody anything. We told them, where's your pain? Let me rub it in. Or if they said, why have this internal thing going on? I was in a car accident 3 years ago. I go, here, come here. Take a sip of water with this flake. I'm going to give you a scoop and I want you to drink it. It's a little bitter. Come back in 15-20 minutes. Tell me what you think. That's how we sold a ton of this stuff. Was we never really had to sell it. We just had to put it on or have them consume it and come back, and then they bought it. But so testimonials are the name of the game.
Leanne has a question. She says, did you find out if MSM is okay for dogs?
It is. MSM is okay.
My dog knew she had a question, because as soon as I was getting ready to tell you that, my dog decides to get on camera.
Yeah, Leanne, you're right. I did the research on it, and the MSM rejuvenates dog cells as well as human cells, so we're good.
Sorry, my dog barked, but Gary, many of my dogs, they're weenie dogs, and many of the doxies have IVDD, which is, it's inflammation, and I don't know if you know what it is.
Well, I'm not a veterinarian, so you have to explain it to me.
It's IVDD, it's intervertebral disc disease, and they go paralyzed, but with treatment and heavy duty like inflammation, they are able to come out of it. My question is, since I do so much work with the rescue and I see a lot of dogs with this disease, is it safe? And thank you.
Well, no, wait a minute. You said something. I've got to understand one sentence that you said. You said that they have a lot of inflammation and they get, are you saying, are they trying to create inflammation or eliminate inflammation?
They eliminate inflammation.
Okay, well then this stuff will work really well.
Great, yeah,
Okay,
great.
because that's what this stuff was formulated to do. Number one, because most pain anywhere in the body comes from inflammation. Okay, that's what pain is, and so the MSM gel, flake, and capsule will definitely eliminate inflammation. And you know what? I would love you to try it with a dog, and I'm telling you right now, I'll bet you'll get excited.
I should probably reduce the dosage some, huh, for,
Well, no. Here's what you do. For a normal situation would be, now when you say that, is it something that you would put on externally to the dog, like on a certain body part of the dog, or?
they take drugs for this, like, one of the big drugs they prescribe for this disease is, prednisone. And it leaves
Okay, so then you'd want the flake where you'd mix the flake in the water and put the water bowl down and let him drink the water.
got it. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Appreciate
No,
it.
no problem at all. Any other questions? I'd love to answer any questions anybody has.
I'd love to see it work for 30 years of severe chronic pain for me. I have a broken pelvic bone that is not healed in 30 years.
Well, here's what it's not going to do. Obviously, it's not going to change, the pelvic bone, but it'll definitely take away the inflammation around the pelvic bone.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Now, like I said, I'm only going to be in Arizona for another couple weeks, and then I'm gone for a couple weeks. So if anybody needs anything, or they want to call me, or they have questions, or they want me to do a conference call with people that are potential people that you want to bring on board, I am free for the next 2 weeks with anybody that needs my help. But then I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks with traveling and moving, and moving is not my favorite thing. I've lived in Arizona 20 years, and now I'm going to Florida. But for the next 2 weeks, I'm open to help anybody with anything. And another thing too, don't forget, I say it every week, that you go to the back part of your Healthy Response, and you've got my book that you can give away to all your friends for Christmas and whatever for free. I would love you to give everybody you know my book for free, so that they can read about how they can develop stronger self-esteem, self-respect, self-confidence, self-worth, self-image during this horrible, horrible time of COVID and cabin fever. And I mean, I'm going right now to take care of my father, who's 96, and my mother, who's 90. That's why I'm going to Florida. And my dad has been bedridden for 6 years. But I got to tell you something. I think I know how he feels. I mean, he may have been bedridden for 6 years, but I feel like I've been bedridden for a year. So, giving people my book is a motivational tool to get people excited about what's coming and what they can do to change their lives. And anything I can do to help anybody, I'm here. I'm here to support you, help you, and answer any questions you have. And I'm proud and gracious to be working with Troy and Micah, and I love the company that we're putting together. And I need all of you to grow with us, because we're going to grow and be very big. We're going to be a very successful company, but the most important thing is that the people that are on tonight and the people that are going to be coming on, that they become successful with us. And that's more important to me, because then I know then it really is a success, because we're changing people's lives. But anyway, I want everybody to have happy holiday. Unless there's any more questions, we can end it now. I like looking at Troy's dog and your dog, Leanne.
Yeah, I want to say something to Troy. My goodness, I have 5 weenie dogs, and my dogs are not even, put the 5 together and they're not as big. I mean, look at this little thing. She's a foot-long wiener.
She's gorgeous.
You got
She's
a
gorgeous.
huge dog.
Yeah, I got a dog just like all guys gets dogs. My daughter decided she was gonna buy it and she wanted this dog, and then next thing I know, I pay for it, I take care of it, it becomes my dog. Pretty much. That's how a guy gets a dog, I believe.
Yeah, I think so too. You know, here's something funny. You gave me a deja vu. Back when I was growing up with my brother and sister, my sister demanded to my dad, "I need a dog. I have to have a dog. You have to buy me a dog." And my dad didn't want a dog at all. And he goes, "All right, if I buy the dog, you've got to be responsible for it. You've got to take it out. You got to this. You got to feed it. You got to bathe it. You got to this." Well, we got the dog, and my sister was so irresponsible where it was going all over the house and it wasn't being trained and it wasn't being bathed. So my dad gave it to a farmer that he knew. To tell you how irresponsible my sister was, she didn't know the dog was missing until 2 weeks later.
Oh my gosh.
So I guess that showed how responsible she was. Anyway, I
Yeah.
want everybody to, anything you want to add, Troy, before we get off? You there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm reading the chat and everything.
Okay, good.
Everything's good. Oh, it says I came a bit late. Is the MSM also on the buy one get one?
No. We can't do that yet. We're just launching it, but it was a good thought. But buy one get one free will be with the nutritional products until December 31st. But I think you'll see that the prices are very reasonable. Mike and I put them down as low as we can get them, so we'd be very competitive for these MSM products. But no, it's not buy one get one free. Maybe, who knows? Maybe in February, when we're really moving a lot of product, I can do something like that.
Will it
Anything
be
else?
on our website? The
Yeah.
MS,
So
Yeah.
if you go to healthyresponse.life and scroll down, you'll see it.
It's live for sale on our website now.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
That's good news. I have several people interested.
Okay, great. Great. Anyway, anybody have any other questions? Because I love answering questions. All right, everybody, have a happy holiday. And like I said, please contact me. My email is yogurtfrenzy@yahoo.com. Yogurt, Y-O-G-U-R-T, Frenzy, F-R-E-N-Z-Y, @yahoo.com. If you have any questions or you want me to do a conference call and be a guest speaker for for people that you're trying to bring on board, please utilize me for the next 2 weeks. I'd love to do it with you. All right. But in the meantime, everybody take care. Thank you for coming on. Have a great evening and have a great holiday. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Let's do 35.